there's a new reg or an order coming out. What is that? The 2222.
22, yeah.
And it is specifically aimed at this whole new generation world of DER. What does that say and what does it mean?
So really what that means is, and I think there's a limit, I think it's 100 kilowatts, but basically anybody who generates 100 kilowatts can come onto the grid and contribute to, I guess, transactive energy framework. So they can sell into the grid, they can sell to another participant on the grid, but basically they have lowered significantly the size of generation required to participate commercially in an energy transaction. Now, from my perspective, that is fantastic. It allows us to further, deploy distributed generation on the grid and hit some of those decarbonisation targets. But it also adds significant complexity to the grid. Because in that environment, there's an expectation that the grid capacity is infinite, that you can have as many connections. It doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter what size, that the grid will sink in all of that generation and distribute it appropriately. Now, anybody who works on the grid understands that there's a finite capacity, there's a cost to generate, there's a cost to distribute, and trying to optimize that is extremely important. Now, that cannot be done manually. That has to be done more and more through technology, through understanding power flows, through understanding grid constraints, through understanding generation curtailment, to optimize that so you're maximizing the deployment of DER, which we all consider as a good thing, but also minimizing the instability potential impact on the grid. And that is a very, very difficult equation to solve, but it has to be solved in real time. That definitely you can plan ahead. You can say, if everything is perfect, this is what we expect it to be. But more and more with the diversity on the grid, there are real-time tools required to operate the grid to its, I'm going to say, its acceptable limits, but also to maximize that capacity and minimize curtailment.